Preseason action is now upon us, meaning more NFL trades will soon be announced before Week 1 kicks off.
Trey Hendrickson granted permission to seek a trade with another team.
With all that said, how about we dive into one player that all 32 NFL teams should trade before the start of the 2025 regular season? Arizona Cardinals, Greg Dortch. Dortch has seen a noticeable drop in production thanks to the emergence of tight end Trey McBride, with Marvin Harrison Jr. set to break out any day now. Dortch might be a solid number 2 receiver on another team, so Arizona should trade him now and build around the offensive nucleus of McBride, Harrison Jr., Kyler Murray, and James Conner. Atlanta Falcons, Kirk Cousins. We know it's easier said than done, but Atlanta's ideal scenario is to still find a taker for Cousins' contract, move forward with Michael Penix Jr., and clear up any potential locker room drama and distractions. Baltimore Ravens, Mark Andrews. Andrews' name was floated as a potential roster cut, but the Ravens are keeping the veteran tight end heading into the last year of his contract. At least for now. The emergence of tight end is highly likely has made Andrews expendable. Buffalo Bills, Curtis Samuel. Samuel did not live up to the first season of a $24 million deal that he signed with Buffalo last year. The signing of Josh Palmer, coupled with Keon Coleman's inevitable improvement in year 2, means that Samuel isn't really needed in Buffalo anymore. Carolina Panthers, Adam Thielen. Thielen is entering the final season of his contract. He's also 35 now, so in other words, he is not a part of Carolina's long-term plans. Chicago Bears, Cole Kmet. Chicago used its first-round pick on Michigan tight end Colton Loveland and its second-rounder on Missouri wideout Luther Burden III. With DJ Moore and Rome Odunze also present, Kmet does not have much of a role here. Chicago just doesn't need to carry extra tight ends, but as a guy who can get you 50-plus catches and 500-plus yards a season, Kmet could flourish on a new team that'll give him more playing time. The Bears could get another proven roster player or mid-round pick for a relatively young 26-year-old tight end. Cincinnati Bengals, Trey Hendrickson. The Bengals clearly have no interest in paying Hendrickson long-term. It's becoming too much of a headache for the locker room and the fans. If owner Mike Brown wants to stay cheap and stubborn, well, so be it. The Bengals would at least get a second-round pick for the reigning sacks leader and heck, possibly even more. Cleveland Browns, Joe Flacco. It appears to be down to Flacco and Kenny Pickett for the Browns' starting QB job. But riddle us this. What good is it to give the 40-year-old Flacco a temporary starting role when Pickett, Shedeur Sanders, and Dylan Gabriel are much younger and all potential long-term options? Dallas Cowboys, Miles Sanders. The Cowboys do not need 4 running backs. Javonte Williams should be the guy for Week 1, with rookie Jaden Blue and 23-year-old Deuce Vaughn getting extended looks as his understudies. Sanders has one great season under his belt. That was with a star-studded Philadelphia Eagles team in 2022. Denver Broncos, Jaquan McMillan. McMillan feels like the odd man out on his star-studded Broncos defense that signed all-pro safety Talanoa Hufanga and drafted Texas corner Jahdae Barron in round 1 to complement reigning Defensive Player of the Year Patrick Surtain II in the secondary. Hufanga, Barron, Surtain, and fellow standout Riley Moss give Broncos head coach Sean Payton more than enough depth. Detroit Lions, Khalif Raymond. Raymond turned heads with over 500 receiving yards in both 2022 and 2023, but his role has reduced thanks to the arrivals of other big-name stars like Sam Laporta and Jahmyr Gibbs. Green Bay Packers, Romeo Doubs. Jaden Reed was the Packers' #1 receiver last year, though 2025 first-round pick Matthew Golden figures to take over that role. Factor in the presence of Tucker Kraft, Christian Watson, and Dontavian Wicks, and, Doubs becomes expendable. Houston Texans, John Mechie III. Mechie has seldom been used over his first 2 seasons, with only 40 catches for 412 yards and 1 touchdown. Well, the arrivals of rookies Jaden Higgins and Jalen Noel and Nico Collins' rise to superstardom mean that there is no room for Mechie long-term. Indianapolis Colts, Samson Ebukam. Ebukam posted a career-best 9.5 sacks in 2023, but sadly missed all of 2024 after suffering a torn Achilles in training camp. With Ebukam on an expiring contract and no sure thing to stay healthy and start in 2025, the Colts should just give him a fresh start after a tough injury break. Jacksonville Jaguars, Travis Etienne Jr. Tank Bigsby replaced Etienne as the Jags lead back in 2024. With the latter entering his contract year, what's the sense of keeping a valuable trade chip around? The 2-time 1,000-yard rusher is still a starting caliber RB. Kansas City Chiefs, Wanye Morris. The Chiefs signed Jalen Moore and used a first-round pick on Josh Simmons to bolster their offensive tackle depth. With Jawan Taylor occupying the other bookend spots, Morris should be the odd man pan out. Las Vegas Raiders, Michael Mayer. Brock Bowers' epic 2024 rookie season all but confirmed that Mayer is no longer a necessity in Vegas. Mayer is never going to get many targets in an offense with Bowers and Ashton Genty. Most teams don't have a tight end with Mayer's ceiling, so finding a taker in a trade will not be difficult. Los Angeles Chargers, Zion Johnson. The Chargers' 2022 first-round pick has not come around as expected, and a fresh start feels inevitable. Johnson is competing with Andre James for the starting center job after 3 shaky seasons at guard. Word out of Chargers camp is that James has impressed in that spot. If he wins it, the Bolts may as well cut ties with Johnson after declining his 5th-year option. Los Angeles Rams, Colby Parkinson. The Rams needn't carry 3 tight ends with reliable veteran Tyler Higbee and rookie Terrence Ferguson atop the depth chart. It was a stunner when the Rams gave Parkinson a 3-year deal worth $22.5 million in free agency last year. If they can find a taker, well, this is going to be the time to get out of the burden of his contract. Miami Dolphins, Cam Smith. It felt like a coup when the Dolphins got Smith in round 2 at number 51 overall in 2023, but after seeing limited playing time as a rookie, injury woes limited Smith to 6 games in his sophomore 2024 campaign. With enough depth at cornerback, the Dolphins should have unloaded Smith and moved forward with the group that they have. Minnesota Vikings, Ty Chandler. The Vikings extended Aaron Jones after a superb 2024 campaign and acquired Jordan Mason via trade with the 49ers. Chandler won't get much playing time in Minnesota during his contract year, and the Vikings don't need to keep him as one of their 53 players over other important positions. New England Patriots, Antonio Gibson. Ramondre Stevenson got a 4-year extension last year, and the Pats used a 2nd-round pick on Ohio State product Trayvon Henderson. You do the math. The Patriots don't need Gibson occupying a roster spot as well. New Orleans Saints, Cameron Jordan. Jordan's loyalty to the only franchise that he's played for is admirable. But what exactly does it do for him in the long term? The Saints have stubbornly refused to rebuild for a while now. They should do Jordan right and just send him to a contender where he can chase a ring. New York Giants, Jameis Winston. The Giants signed Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston before trading up for Ole Miss QB Jackson Dart. There is no need for 2 pricey veterans and an unproven rookie in your quarterback room. New York Jets, Allen Lazard. The ex-Packers standout agreed to a restructured deal after the Jets cut ties with Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams. But that doesn't at all mean that he's a lock to make their final roster. Lazard has been a bit of a disappointment with New York since signing a $44 million deal in 2023 free agency. Philadelphia Eagles, Eli Ricks. The Eagles have arguably the league's best cornerback duo in Cooper DeJean and Quinion Mitchell. Ricks, who signed as an undrafted free agent in 2023, is entering the last year of his contract. Ricks has been a serviceable rotational piece for Nick Sirianni, but some bodies must be pushed out to make room for the final roster. Pittsburgh Steelers, Skylar Thompson. The Steelers have 4-time MVP Aaron Rodgers behind center, with veteran Mason Rudolph serving as an adequate backup plan. Behind Rudolph is rookie Will Howard out of Ohio State. If the Steelers can find a team that'll take on Thompson as a 3rd stringer, well, bully for them. San Francisco 49ers, Yetur Gross-Matos. Gross-Matos is entering the last year of a 2-year deal that he signed last year. San Fran reshaped its front 7 by using a 1st-round pick on Michael Williams before trading for Bryce Huff, adding even more firepower around Nick Bosa. Gross-Matos projects to be a backup in San Fran, but teams in need of D-line depth could have interest in YGM, and maybe they could see if he can develop into a starter. Seattle Seahawks, Uchenna Nwosu. Since logging a career-high 9.5 sacks for Seattle in 2022, injuries have unfortunately limited Nwosu to 12 games over the last 2 years. The Seahawks are loaded with playmakers and depth in the front 7, and they still don't have a timeline for when he'll receive clearance to return to football. So, trading Nwosu to another pass rush needy team and swapping late-round picks seems like an ideal outcome for all parties involved. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Sterling Shepard. The Bucs used their 1st-round pick on Emeka Egbuka to form a 3-headed monster at wideout with Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. Jalen McMillan also looks ready to take that next step after a stellar rookie year. That makes the former Giants fan favorite replaceable. Tennessee Titans, Josh Whyle. Will Levis or Treylon Burks could have been in this spot, but the former just underwent season-ending shoulder injury, and the latter was waived during training camp. So we'll settle on backup tight end Josh Whyle, who's lined up behind Chig Okonkwo on the depth chart. Washington Commanders, Marshawn Lattimore. Lattimore never found his game after coming over via trade during the 2023 season, but this is a 4-time Pro Bowl corner who's only 29 years of age, so it's unfair to label him as washed. Lattimore's signed through 2026, but if he agrees to a restructured deal, Washington should find several interested parties. A veteran with his career body of work should be of interest to other Super Bowl contenders. But hey, which other NFL players do you think should be traded before Week 1? Let us know in the comment section below. If you liked this video and learned a thing or two, then clicking the like button helps us out a ton, and you know, we really appreciate it. If this is your first time coming around to TPS though, then subscribing is a great idea, because we put out videos like this every single day. But as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.